Things just keep getting worse for Dustin Burrows' bid to be Speaker of the Texas House. This is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State, the Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
We're running headlong into the middle of the week. Thanks for spending part of this Wednesday with the Texas Minute. It looks like the University of Texas at Austin is promoting pedophilia in the form of an LGBTQ studies class. More on that coming up. More than 4 years after he was caught with a box full of fraudulently obtained mail-in ballots, Carrollton mayoral candidate Zul Muhammad pleaded guilty this week to 109 voter fraud felonies. A Denton County jury will now determine the punishment, which could range from probation to 2 to 20 years in prison. Muhammad ran for mayor back in 2020. In September of that year, Denton County elections officials received dozens of suspicious ballot-by-mail applications, all with similar handwriting, and requesting that those ballots be sent to the same address, which turned out to be a commercial mailbox store. Denton County Sheriff's Office investigators placed trackers in a box of ballots, staked out the store, and traced the scheme back to Muhammad. He was arrested and charged with submitting fraudulent mail ballot applications and possessing mail-in ballots without the voter's knowledge or request. So, as a feel-good note to the story, Mr. Muhammad also lost that race, receiving just 6,500 votes of the nearly 26,700 that were cast. A federal judge has blocked a Biden-Harris administration rule that required health insurance coverage for those brought across the border illegally as children. Texas and 18 other Republican-led states sued the federal government over the rule. The states successfully argued that the Biden rule encourages illegal aliens to remain in the United States and forces legal residents and citizens to contribute funds to their health care. Republican State Representative Sam Harless of Spring is the latest lawmaker to renounce Dustin Burrows and throw his support for the office of Speaker of the Texas House to the official Republican caucus nominee, David Cook. Harless made his announcement on Tuesday, less than 12 hours after two other Harris County Republicans switched their support to Cook. Here's the background. After being defeated in the Republican caucus by David Cook, Dustin Burrows claimed to have 76 pledges for the speakership of the Texas House by saddling up to the Democrats. The bad news for Mr. Burrows is that list has been shrinking ever since. Within hours of his announcement, 8 Republicans and a Democrat said Burrows had falsely used their names. In the days since then, more Republicans have withdrawn from Burrows and thrown in with Mr. Cook. None of that, though, is stopping Burrows from raising money in what some call a shady way. Burrows has taken to calling himself Speaker-elect, despite not having the pledged votes to justify such a title. That's led Republican State Representative J.M. Lozano of Kingsville to ask the Attorney General of Texas to scrutinize the matter, noting that adopting official titles is a violation of state law. The Texas Minute will be right back.
The Luke Macias Show is your access to what happens behind closed doors in Texas politics. Listen weekly to me, your host, Luke Macias, as I break down what is actually happening in conservative politics in the Lone Star State, a state that we all love and cherish. Listen weekly wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is a product of Texas Scorecard.
The University of Texas at Austin has been offering an Introduction to LGBT Studies course this fall. One of the required textbooks promotes the sexualization of minors. The course itself claims to provide, quote, an intersectional perspective on LGBTQ+ studies. One of the required books for the course is the Rutledge Queer Studies Reader, which argues for the sexualization of minors. The author complains about, quote, the systemic separation of children from queer adults. And yes, taxpayers, you're subsidizing this. If you can stomach it, you can find the details of the story as well as the others mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was based on the original reporting of Aaron Anderson, Valerie Munoz, Brandon Walton, and Robert Montoya. It was produced by Nick Shepard. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the first news of the day for the Lone Star State. This has been the Texas Minute with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.